Welcome to the Stacked Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
We are back with another Stacked Podcast Roundup where we go over all of the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our site from the past 7 days. And we're going to kick the episode off with a bit of news of our own. And we mentioned it on this podcast previously and social media a bit. And we basically officially announced it last week. And that is our Stack Pro Online Expo is coming back. We had a lot of people demand it kind of last year and the start of this year in like January. And so we thought, why the hell not? So we put preparations in we started planning, I guess, kind of what we could do different in January and December. And we finally found the time to get down and put it together. And it's pretty much going to be kind of the same style as the ones we did in 2016 and 2017, where we get together brands from throughout the industry, manufacturers, functional food companies, your typical sports nutrition brands. We bring them all together on a website that's only going to be online for 7 days, and brands will have their own pages, or we like to call booths, and they'll be filled with giveaways, deals, announcements, information, education, videos. It's pretty much whatever brands decide to put on their pages or booths is what goes on there, really. One of the big things that we got this time, which is not so much a visitor benefit, but more off on the back end, is that, when we design these pages and booths for brands, a lot of them don't have their own designers, a lot of them don't have their own developers. And we did notice that back when we last did it, it was a big jump. Some giant companies had those brands that could just put a team together, develop a little, just a very well put together page and get it to us within a week. And some just really couldn't even get a design together. And so with this expo, we created an in-house or in-site builder where brands can sign up, and then we just give them a login and they get to basically build the page themselves. It's a very drag and drop type situation inside the expo behind the scenes, where companies can really, without any developing knowledge, any coding knowledge, can put together an experience that is, I guess, much more into their control, much more out of their skill set, and all the back end stuff is taken care of. So we think that's it's something we wanted to do back in the day, just didn't really have the time, budget, and power to do so. We've incorporated this time, and I think it's a great offering for companies out there that want to get involved. And it'll definitely, again, it's not going to be so much on the consumer side as a benefit for the brands that exhibit, but anyone that visits will definitely notice the increase in improvement in the looks, design, layouts, features. Brands are going to be able to offer what they want. And it's a big improvement, I think. And so the exact date for it is going to be August 10th. It'll be a Monday to a Sunday, much like our last ones. And we're encouraging brands to just bring their best, basically. Announce, like you had back in like early 2010s, where companies went to Olympia and hyped their latest product and, announced it. That's what we try and drive home with the expo. And we've always done that. And we're excited to finally bring it back in a much more fine-tuned, efficient form. And as a visitor, all you have to do is just on the August 10th to the 16th, is visit stack.pro. That's stack3d.pro. And we'll be blasting it everywhere on our site and social media anyway. But that's the only support we need. That's the only support we want. And if you can share it, do so too. But it'll be a fun-filled experience, definitely for consumers. The feedback we got back when we first did them was really cool. People were sitting down for like half an hour reading through every single booth and page, entering all the giveaways and signing up. So it's something we're very proud to be bringing back, and one of the large projects we've been working on over the past few months. Hopefully everyone enjoys it, and again, that'll be August 10th. But from there, we get back into our usual roundup of news. And last week was not short on excitement. In fact, I would argue it was one of the most interesting weeks we had seen in a while. And one of the stories that I guess kind of kicked it off earlier in the week came from Clean Drink. Now, this is a Swedish company, one of the many functional beverage companies out of Sweden. And they're they're not all that old, but they've kind of come onto the scene. I don't think they're all that old. We only stumbled across them not that long ago. But they make an amino-infused energy drink, or energy-infused amino drink, however you want to swing it. But they've added a few flavors over the past year that we've known them. But this past week they did something I thought was pretty interesting. I was pretty surprised. They teased it. They kind of did these little images, covered up, and were like, guess what's coming. They even delayed the announcement. I think they were due to drop it on like May 29th, May 30th. They ended up coming on like June 2nd. I can't remember the exact date. But yeah, they announced a collaboration, which I thought was going to be a flavor, and I thought it was going to be a series, especially being such a young company. But they teamed up with a premium automobile company, a car manufacturer of all things. And yeah, it's got the car company's logo on it. It's got the... they promote it alongside one of the car company's signature cars, at least I think is the... And yeah, I mean, I'll attempt to pronounce it. I know I'm not going to pronounce it correctly. It's if you go to the site, type in clean drink, you'll see it. It's Koenigsegg. It's not a company I'd heard of, but a very, very well known one. Very premium, very high end. Again, known for its premium sports cars and whatnot. And the other interesting thing is it actually has a ghost logo. And while I immediately thought, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's interesting, because it looked, I mean, obviously Ghost in the supplement realm or the functional realm, you relate over to the original lifestyle brand Ghost. However, it's really nothing to do with, no connection whatsoever. They didn't throw it in there for no reason. The logo is actually the logo of the car company, which I believe they adopted in 2002 or 3. I remember just looking it up to see what the deal was. But yeah, you can check it out. It's pretty cool. The flavor, it's called Green Power Edition. So it's the Clean Drink's typical energy drink. It's a little less caffeine than usual. Instead of 180, it's 105. But as far as we know, it has all the other added features with added vitamins. Actually, I'm not sure if the vitamins, vitamins, minerals, and BCAAs, and zero sugar. So it's and it's the flavor that makes it. I give it a little difference, and of course the look with the car company's logo down the side. And that should be out in Sweden, I believe, soon, if not already. We didn't really get an exact date, but yeah, full reveal and everything on the site. The next story we got keeps us in the functional category, and this one was kind of interesting. It came from Skippy, of all companies, and Skippy, obviously the peanut butter giant. They do the mainstream company, find in supermarkets all over the place. Yeah, and they announced a couple products. But only one of them caught our attention. We wrote about the one that caught our attention, obviously. I mentioned the other two. But there was a no added sugar peanut butter, which is, it's my preferred peanut butter, to be honest. But not anything new. And then they did a squeeze packet peanut butter. Again, nothing new, but nice and convenient and cool. But the product that caught our attention was they did a protein enhanced peanut butter. Now, we didn't get the exact macros, and as people pointed out, it's 10 grams of protein per serve, so it's 3 grams more than your typical than your typical peanut butter from Skippy. So it's an increase. Well, it doesn't sound like a lot when you think about it, percentage-wise. 3 grams from 7 is, I'm not great at math, but it's like somewhere in the realm of 40%. It is a big jump when you're talking on a small scale. But the important thing to note is that we don't know the other macros, so we don't know what kind of sugar, what kind of fat, what kind of anything. We just know that there's 10 grams of protein per serving compared to the usual Skippy peanut butter of 7. People might mention that, so we were just announcing what we had and confirmed what was available. And the other interesting detail is that it's a plant-based protein, so it's infused with plant protein sources. Again, we don't know what sources they are. We just know that it's infused with them to give it that high or higher 10 grams of protein. And it's available in usual formats. You got crunchy peanut butter and creamy peanut butter. You can get a closer look at that on our site. But yeah, that one's actually meant to be available. Skippy says available in stores nationwide now, or select retailers now. Whereas the squeeze tubs and the no added sugar peanut butter, they said that's not coming until later in the month. So yeah, the one that caught our interest is the one that you'll probably see in stores now. From there, we move on to Quest Nutrition, who we kind of, I mean, it's not a company we see a whole lot of news from, at least compared to other companies that are very fast-moving, very fast-paced, regular and frequent in headlines. But yeah, we got details on a new flavor from Quest Nutrition for its flagship Quest Protein Bar. This is one that we actually remember this one back in 2018. Quest said farewell, goodbye, discontinued to its original lemon cream pie flavor. We had comments, people just sort of like, oh no, what was my favorite? And that's the case with a lot of flavors when brands discontinue them. Sometimes it's it's someone's favorite at least. There's one person, not even one person. There's most likely several people who enjoyed it, but so they discontinued that one. That was back in 2018, and then this past week we got details on, I guess, the return of lemon to the Quest Bar menu with an all-new flavor, a sweetened tart recipe called lemon cake. We don't really have any exact details on when it's dropping, but pictures surfaced. You'll get the usual 20 grams of protein per bar, 4 grams of net carbs, 15 fiber, and 1 gram of sugar. So yeah, typical Quest nutrition profile, and an all-new flavor coming soon. From there, we move over to, I guess, one of the brands that has just been killer these past few weeks. I don't even know how to say it, like, not even past few weeks, these past few months, and that is Core Nutritionals, who doesn't really seem to have a week go by where we don't have something good to say about it. And so this past week we had two big stories on Core. One, we finally reviewed their pre-workout Core Fury, and we've been dying to do this since it came out, since it came back all the way in, was it January or February? It was one of their first launches of the year, and it just kicked it off for them. And we've been dying to try it, give it a full run. Unfortunately, when we got it, after that launch, we were trying to get ready to travel mode to go the Arnold, then FIBO, but then, that all went down, and we ended up bunkering up, and gyms were locked down, so we eventually got our hands on it these past month or two, and we're finally able to put it and give it a good run at several workouts in, and I can tell you right now, this thing is a beast. I had people try it and say it was, something else, and I was just dying to give it a good run, push it to the limits compared to other products, and, Core doesn't disappoint. The product, to be honest, it reminds me a lot of Devastate, or some of the best versions of Devastate. Just a well-rounded, well-balanced, synergistic product that you get, great energy, great focus, great performance. I wasn't overly impressed with the pumps, and we mentioned this in the review. It's like sometimes some products just nail it. They get great energy, focus, performance, and the pumps are there. And, sometimes the energy isn't as good, but the pumps are better. And Core I liked it, to be honest. While I do like pumps in the mix, and I like a well-rounded experience, I didn't mind the fact that the pumps weren't that great in this one. Or sorry, not that they weren't great again. They were there, just not on the level of the energy and focus and performance, rolled into one. And but the other thing we mentioned in the post was that even though it lacked in pumps, we did have Core Pump on hand, and you just throw that shit in the mix, and not only do you get a little bit more focus, a little bit more performance, but the pumps, it brings it up. I mean, you are buying and taking 2 pre-workouts, and I would always prefer to get everything in one, especially when, you're talking about a pre-workout and your budget might only limit you to one. I do prefer it all in the one, but if you got that problem and you're not really getting great pumps out of it, then you can easily go with that route. But as a standalone pre-workout, it's easily the best one I've tried this year. Again, the energy and focus are just on point. It doesn't hit too hard, but it's just nice, smooth, long-lasting. Gets you going, keeps you going. If you just hammer your first 2 exercises, you'll find that you can hammer your last, which is not always the case with a lot of these pre-workouts. Sometimes they exhaust you too much, they jack you up or get you too hyped too early, and you end up being tired or just crashing near the end. But this is not the case. The performance base on this one and the endurance base just fuels you through, and it's very, very impressive. We ended up putting it on our top 5 list, our list of top 5 pre-workouts. Core Fury ended up at number 3. You got Devastate White Cut. It's not White Cut. Jesus, I can't remember the name of it. It's a White Diamond. It's the latest Devastate. That's number 2, and we still have Performix Labs, Hypermax still at the top with, I mean, to be honest, when you're looking at the way the pre-workout category has become now, it's, I don't know, it's amazing. It's very, very close. When you're talking top 5, I'm talking like, look, if you don't like my number 1, then on my number 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, I mean, there are small things between these, right? Like, if you said, nah, number 5 should be number 1, I wouldn't argue. Like, it's just personal preference, but we're talking small amounts of difference. Like, Hypermax, I only give it over Core Fury because the pumps are slightly better, the energy is a bit more tense, but then the performance side is a bit down. But, you know, to me, that's a balance I prefer, that's a balance we prefer at Stacked. So, yeah, I mean, but it's a well-deserved top placing, great pre-workout, huge points for Core on that one. It's not easy to deliver something as intense and competitive while still maintaining your entire lineup of supplements the way that they have. But as mentioned, that review was one of 2 big stories we shared from Core this past week, and the other one is it was very damn interesting. Morphogen Nutrition. You may remember, pretty sure it was this last episode or even the one before. They came out and they basically rattled off all their products they have planned for the rest of the year, and it plainly is fucking insane. As companies out there may not even try and deliver half of what they're about to do, let alone that amount in half a year. But Morphogen rattled it off. They set their bar high, and they're very hyped and excited to deliver everything that they promised. This past week, Core thought they would have a go. Doug Miller, the owner of the man behind the brand, he rattled off the products he plans on announcing. And shit, it's, I mean, if, I don't like saying this too early, but I mean, he's going to have one crazy year if he can do what he's planning to do. I mean, the first half of the year that they've done is amazing. You've seen a new greens formula, which is one of the best tasting, not just the best tasting in the U. It's one of the best tasting worldwide. It's one of the best tasting I had, and it comes with a solid formula. As I mentioned, Core Fury, powerful, loaded pre-workout, competes with the best in terms of balance. You got Core Pump as well, amazing pre-workout, pump pre-workout that combines 2 products that you usually had to buy separately from the brand. And that's not even talking about their Core Vegan, which is coming soon, and their Core ISO, their revamped Core ISO, new and improved flavors. They got Core Pro, they got, I know I'm bloody missing one too. They're revamping Core PWO to Core Post-Workout. These guys have a mountain of stuff that they've already done. Core Interest, was another one that they've done. They've done a mountain of things already this year. And so for them to announce what they did, and I'll go over the list of what they have planned, but it's a long story if you go to the site to read it. But I'm going to read it right now purely because there's no way in hell I was going to remember any of this if I was to do this podcast. But so much like Morphogen Nutrition, Core Nutritionals announced basically a mountain of new flavors and a mountain of new products, all of which it plans to drop between now and the end of the year. And so you've got, here we go. So there are at least 2 flavors. These are at least, I will say at least, because they, much like Morphogen Core was like, we'll do 1 to 3 on this. So I'm just saying at least 1 because sometimes, it's difficult. But so we're taking minimums here. We're not saying the maximum or the best that they're going to do. We're saying the minimum. So there is at least 2 flavors for Core ABC, 4 new flavors for a variety of its protein powder. So they just said 4 for its protein, which could mean, I guess, Core ISO or Core Pro, but 4 for the category. Another one for Core Greens, which has mentioned one of the best tasting, most potent, the best tasting potent Core Greens out there. New options for Core Fury. So Core Fury is going to get an Australian version, and in that version, going to be a bunch of new flavors that you won't get in the US, as well as 2 limited edition flavors for Core Fury and Core Pump. I have to imagine those will be the same for each, just because they can be stacked, but both will be limited. And being the fact that they're limited, you have to imagine they're going to be a little bit different. And that's on the flavor side. So a lot of companies won't even probably be doing that amount on the flavor side, but that's not where it ends for Core. So as for the entirely new side of the argument, this is where Core, these are all the products that Core plans on launching, not flavors. entirely new or revamped products. They have new versions of Core MRP and Core PWO, which I mentioned. PWO will now be called, or will soon be called, Core Post. We mentioned that on our stories on our website, talking about what they've done, what they plan on doing differently. Core MRP again, new flavors. I don't think I'm not too sure on the formula, but there is details that they're revamping that. There is going to be a new product called Core Zone, which, if I remember correctly, they said was going to be kind of like Core Zap. If we got long-time fans out there that remember that one, so like an energy focus enhancing supplement that's apparently meant to be insane. A new version of Core Z's, which is their sleep supplement. A new version of their a new version of their stimulant-free fat burner, Core Burn, not to be confused with their what's their other one? Oh, it's gonna bug me. Their regular one, their stimulant-free one is Core Shred. So a new version of Core Shred, and then or is it called? Either way, they got a new version of a stimulant-free fat burner. Sorry, the list is long. And then they're redoing they're not redoing exactly, but they're rebranding their Core Burn, which is currently Core Burn X, going to be rebranded just Core Burn, new look and everything. No change to the formula on that, so again, just a revamp, nothing too big. And then they're going to have 5 new Core Commodities products, which is their basic single ingredient line. I think we mentioned that in a previous episode. But while that list is pretty extensive, as mentioned, they plan on doing all this within the next 6 months. I'm pretty sure Core Vegan's in there as well. I actually think that's coming later this month. And but to top it all off, and this is where I think this is something big. On top of all of that, the Zap, the Z's, the Shred Burn, they're also doing a flavored version of Burn. Not Burn. A capsule version of Core Burn, which is their, as mentioned, their top-rated stimulant fat burner. They're doing a capsule version, and now this version, at least from how I understand, it's going to be different again from Core Burn and Core Shred, which is their stimulant-free one. So, yeah, I don't know how different, but they just said it'll still be stimulants, but a different version to the powdered one. But so to top it all off, they're coming out with functional foods. And this is where I think Core is going to really, really, really set itself apart, because the big thing that I've always said, I say that with every brand, is that it's awesome to see a company come out with new products into new categories. It's tough, especially if you're someone who, like, you know, if you kill on the pre-workout game. Inspired did it last year. They went from pre-workout to superfood to functional protein with their their collagen protein. Then they did a premium multivitamin. They stepped out of their comfort zone and went into a world of in types of supplements that you just wouldn't expect, and they killed it. And brands that do that deserve tremendous applause, as we try and do as much as we can. And Core's done that. Again, they have their superfood formula. They have their vegan-friendly protein coming soon. They got Core. They got new Core Zone, which again, it's not really anything new, similar to Core Zap from back in the day. But again, something they haven't currently got. But they're going to jump into functional food. Now, this is going to be, I think, a very interesting thing. Not many companies do the leap. Not many companies, I guess, I don't even know if it's a risk, but it's hard. It's hard to crack a market you've not touched before, especially if you're a well-established brand. But they're going to take it on, and they're going to do it with a bar. And by the looks of things, bags of protein balls. Now, from what I've understand, the bar is going to be kind of what you'd expect from core nutritionals, like a lean, nutritious, reliable, something Doug Miller wants. And, you know, he's a bodybuilder. He's a reputable, experienced lifter, and as he said, he wants to make it if it's something that he's going to take and he's going to have himself. So it's going to be reliable. It's going to be nutritious. Typically, those things don't go hand in hand with like great flavors. But I mean, they proved that superfood products can taste amazing. They said they're going to prove that, you know, vegan proteins can taste even better as well. We're still waiting on that one. But yeah, he's apparently going to deliver something just well balanced which isn't necessarily the case with with a lot of protein bars. As I said, some of the ones that taste really good, they sacrifice calories for taste, and it's or less protein for taste, and it's a win. It's a double-edged sword, I guess, but they plan on taking that battle. And the protein balls, which from what I hear are going to be little bags of balls that are high in protein, which is something we've seen from companies before. I believe Body Science did it in Australia. I could be wrong on that one. I'm pretty sure they did, but I don't know what the nutrition is going to be like on the balls for core. I don't think they're going to be as nutritious or balanced or lean. More of like a fun, unique product. So yeah, I guess we'll see on that one. But it's going to be pretty big for them to do this. It's not easy to enter a new world. It's just going to be interesting, and I'm extremely excited to see how they turn out. Core has done nothing but great stuff so far, and by the looks of things, they've got even more planned from between now and the end of the year. So I'm hyped. You can check out the site. Just type in Core, you'll see it on there. Be one of the most recent stories from them, and you can read all about it. We've got 2 more stories to close out the episode. As mentioned, we have a lot to cover this one. So this episode will go a bit longer than usual. But the second to last story we've got comes from Kai Green's brand, Dynamic Muscle, and they announced their first ever protein bar, or at least even first ever edible product. It is called the Dynamic Bar, and it is kind of the trend we've been seeing in the protein market functional space with a real food snack. So it's a high protein bar, 20 grams, so usual 20 grams, but it's only made with like 5 ingredients. I haven't seen the bar itself, but based on the ingredients and the look, and I get the feeling it's similar to a lot of the other real food bars that we've seen come onto the scene, kind of like the Rise Loaded bar, and of course, the original Outright bar, the amazing Outright bar. And it's so made with 5 different ingredients. There are 2 flavors. One's made with peanuts, one's made with almonds. So as you can guess, peanut one's called peanut butter, and the almond one's called almond butter. And then you've got honey, whey isolate, cinnamon, and vanilla flavoring. That's for the peanut flavor, and then in the almond flavor, it's pretty much the same, except in place of the cinnamon, you have sea salt, and as mentioned, almonds instead of peanut. So it's a pretty interesting product. The macros are also kind of similar to the Outright bar and the Loaded bar. You get 20 grams of protein, which is higher than some of the real food snacks out there, with 22 to 23 carbs, 17 of that sugar, 13 to 15 fat, and then you got 280 calories. That one's out now. $30 a box, I believe, from Dynamic Muscle's website, and you can, as I mentioned, just read all about it on the site. But for the last story, and this was probably one of the biggest stories we'd seen in a while in terms of just size and excitement. Maybe the only one that would match it this year was the Fruity Pebbles and the Cocoa Pebbles from Dymatize. That came earlier this year. And of course, we're talking collaborations. And if we're talking huge collaborations, of course, we're talking about Ghost here. So they announced just a few days ago, they have got another collaboration flavor for their protein powder Ghost Whey. And much like with Chips Ahoy, it is another huge company. And they've teamed up with the just the iconic American cookie brand Nutter Butter. And much like the Chips Ahoy, there are going to be real pieces in the powder itself. It's just another great concept, great product, great idea from Ghost. I mean, as soon as you see it and you see the logo, it just it gives off that just perfect fusion of Ghost and Nutter Butter, and it relates with fans from both sides. It's awesome to see. I'm excited to give it a try, and we'll actually be trying it this week. We have a sample with me right now. We've been saving it for this, so I'll let you know how it is. But yeah, it's a big announcement. I believe it's launching. Sorry, I don't actually know when exactly it's launching. Just that it's launching soon. Ghost hasn't set a date. Usually they do, but then with these big launches, as you may remember with Chips Ahoy and even the Bubblicious, they happen really fast. Like they go from like teasing to like announcement to launch like very quickly. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is another one like that. But they hinted at it launching on Peanut Butter Cookie Day, or National Peanut Butter Cookie Day, which is like this Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And they've done that several times with launches. Aligned it with with an occasion, with a big event and a big day. So it's not out of character. The fact that they're hinting at it probably almost is more than a hint. But yeah, definitely stay tuned. This week is going to no doubt be another big week. I believe we'll be announcing all of the companies that have signed on for the Stacked Expo. It's still 9 weeks away, but I believe we have like 20-30 companies already on board. So definitely stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, and later this week, as promised, I'm really putting effort in to get interviews out with companies, CEOs. Later this week, I believe we have one with that UK company, Naughty Boy. And then the week after that, maybe even later this week, I might do too. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the week after. But we'll have Doug Miller on. And that should be one hell of a chat based on, as I mentioned, just the stuff I talked about earlier in the episode. But that'll be a fun one. So as always, stay tuned. Keep up to date on the site. And thank you for tuning in.